We've had a few challenges this spring, but in the last few days there, the cell counts after rising, after doubling there, probably in 4 or 5 days.
What have we got?
What am I trying to do? I don't know. What am I trying to do? I'm a bit of a funny fella, am I? Yeah, probably a combination of the cows being inside, and maybe that's probably the primary reason, because of the weather. And then because they're inside, they're on probably lower quality feed than they're outside on grass. And then also hygiene wise, we're doing our best in the cubicles, but they'd be cleaner outside if it was good weather. Hold it underneath that stuff very carefully. Hey, hold it. Good job. Can I give this? Would this be Roche's birthday present? That's Roche's. Few indicators, I suppose. We found a couple of cows with mastitis. We found 4 cows over 3 days, I think it was. The filter as well had a lot of clots on it, that's milking. Obviously then the cell count text messages coming in. First thing we did then was we started to clean the cubicles just before bedtime, just to give them another clean, and that helped a lot then in terms of keeping the teats cleaner. Cows were treated and put into what we call the colostrum group or the hospital group, and they're milked at the end of milking, so we're trying to minimise contamination to other cows.
Cool.
We might milk the cows, I think it needs squeeze. Okay. Right, we're milking some, Ewan. Will I get the paddock set up? Are you okay to start milking? Nobody sounds too enthusiastic. We have a teat spray that we'd be happy enough with in the summertime, I suppose, but it wouldn't be the highest spec teat spray, so we're continuing to use that as a pre-spray. So before milking, we're teat spraying them and wiping it off, and then we're now this morning we started to use a higher spec teat spray and using it as a dip. So we're dipping the cows after we milk them. After we realised that we had high cell count, there was a few days where I stripped them before we milked them to see if we could find any more. Like in terms of high cell count, what that means, it's a quality parameter that we're getting back as a text message, the SEC, the somatic cell count, and that basically gives us an idea of the other health. It's measuring the number of white blood cells, I think, that are in the milk. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, I'm sure they will in the comments, but obviously the higher then the amount of white blood cells, it shows that the cows are trying to fight infection of some kind in the other. That would indicate that cows either have clinical or subclinical mastitis. There's a threshold, and we're still below the threshold, but we're getting very close to it, where the co-op will start to penalise you if you're over that. Like historically we would have been, I think the threshold is 350,000, is it? Yeah, I'm not sure, it's either 350 or 400 anyway, and like historically we'd be around 100,000, so it'd be well below it. Last year we found it a challenge with the first year we were on once a day, we had no issues really, and last year we had just a challenge the whole year trying to keep it from rising above that. This spring it was going very well actually up until this past week, but yeah, I suppose the cows now are in a very long time now. Sometimes I wonder, like, the line dries out the teats a lot as well, and that's why we're changing the teat, the teat dip for afterwards. Find maybe that their teats are a little bit chapped and that kind of thing. The lime is doing one job, I suppose, but it can maybe cause other issues then. Because in a normal spring you wouldn't really have them in as much, so it'd be easier to manage, because once they go out really it's a lot more straightforward in terms of less that can go wrong. Hopefully we'll get on top of it now. We have tweaked a few things now between the teat dip at the end. We're probably a lot more conscious now in terms of when we're cleaning the cows. We're kind of doubling down on that, so we're making sure that we're cleaning them as best we can. We were very good, I suppose, at the start and that, but the longer it goes on, I suppose, the more you can start to, your standards to drop a bit, because you're just trying to get through it, because you're trying to get on to the next job. Hopefully between all those things we'll be able to get back on top of it now, and we'll be able to keep you updated. That's it.
I have a whole list of stuff that I have to go in now to get from the vets. I'll show you. There's a whole list of things there. We have one cow, she's mastitis, and she's just a bad old udder. Yeah, her udder wouldn't be great, so I kind of knew she was going to get mastitis, and she did. So we used to give dry cow tubes to the whole herd at the end of the year, which is giving them antibiotic tubes basically at drying off time. And to be honest, we never really even thought about it until there was a group here on a farm there a couple of years ago, and somebody said, oh, you know that those tubes kill off the good and the bad bacteria? And we were like, what? So the good bacteria that you need to fight infection, we were basically killing that off with the dry cow tubes. Now, this is probably pretty obvious to some of you, but like, do you know when you're just doing something and you don't even think about it? You're just in the habit of doing it. So we never even kind of really thought about the process. And like, to be honest, our cell count was really low and like what we would consider really good. So we never really had any need to actually think about what we were doing. Now, there is a big push on at the moment to use less antibiotics in farm, which is understandable. And like, to be honest, when we switched to once-a-day milking, we realised we probably had been putting the cows under a little bit of stress in our previous system, and like the once-a-day milking definitely in and of itself gives the cows a better quality of life. Actually, before we made the switch to once-a-day milking, we had started using less antibiotics at drying off time. Many of you will know about selective dry cow therapy already, but for us, we set the parameter that the cow on average had to have a somatic cell count of less than 75,000 for the year, and if that was the case, she got no antibiotics and she just gets a teat sealer at drying off. And like anything, this works until it doesn't work, but like, look, you take your losses with your wins, and for the most part it has been fine. Like, obviously it would be nice to get to a point where we don't need to use antibiotics at drying off time. I don't know, maybe that's just a pipeline dream. There are definitely a lot of factors that go into that. Like, you obviously have genetics, there's hygiene over the winter period, which is crucial. There's just the physical presentation of the cow, like does she have a good udder, good teat placement, you know, etc, etc. We probably expected to use less antibiotics, less drugs, less veterinary bills when we switched to once-a-day milking, and I'm not really sure that that has been fully reflected yet. But it's hard to say that once-a-day milking is the cause of that, or if there's even a correlation between the two, because it could have been our old system created these problems and now we're just seeing the fruits of it. I don't know, who knows? Like with anything, we're just learning as we go along and trying to do our best with the knowledge that we have at the time. Also, do you know the way, like, when you're so used to a sound that you don't even hear it? Like, I literally just realised that that joke is clicking in the background the entire time, and so sorry for that really annoying noise, but don't even hear it anymore.